Chapter 1559. After Zhao Sanpang left, only the two of them were left in the captain's office of the Xiangnan base. She didn't feel anything just now. Now, Luo realized that they were sitting a little too close to each other. In the past, they would watch other teams' live streams like this. It was probably because their identities were different or because of what he said in the discussion group. Luo steadied her heartbeat and looked at him again. She thought that he sent Zhao Sanpang away because he wanted to say something to her. In the end, 1 minute passed. 2 minutes passed. 3 minutes passed. He was still watching the live stream. Speaking of which, both their relationship and the way they interacted. It seemed no different from before. Did he really know that being a boyfriend and being a captain were different? If this continued, there wouldn't be any progress. Luo had thought about taking the initiative, but she knew better than anyone else that this person never liked to take the initiative. Every time she was live streaming, he would throw a jacket at her. He was an old-fashioned person. Besides the fact that he didn't like it. She was more worried that he would think that she was that kind of person. She knew that he wouldn't. Luo straightened her body when she thought about this. Her long hair swayed and she wanted to say something. But before she could, he raised his hand and tapped on the screen. How do you think the newbie from the Supreme Alliance will play? Luo paused. Then, she smiled. The disciple taught by Z should be able to use an unexpected fighting style. However, no matter how he fights, the 3 people in his team have made a mistake. Not only will Bei not be kicked out of this match, but he will also be known by more people because of this tricky environment. Esports is just like this. That's why it's worth working hard. She was ostracized, marginalized and maliciously speculated. Every time, she felt that she should just give up. Anyway, no one would believe that she relied on her own ability to reach this stage. Another voice would come out. Your ability could only be proven on the battlefield. Become a member of a professional team and play for everyone to see. That was her in the past. Now, she saw the same method being used on Z's disciple. Luo had an indescribable feeling. She felt that she wanted to stay here. It didn't seem to be because she liked this industry. Some industries could erase all your passion. She liked it. She had so many teammates around her. He probably felt the same. That was why he heard her say that after she retired. If she wanted to find a boyfriend, she would have to see if he was suitable. But if they continued to interact with each other, they would discover, he just didn't want her to retire. Luo didn't know if she should be happy or sad. She was happy that he would always be her captain. The sad thing was that he would always stand at the position of her captain. Even now, they were still asking her the same questions, asking her to analyze every single Supreme Alliance member. She was still subconsciously training her team control. She wanted to tell him. Although she really liked him. But if he was only taking care of her as a captain. He just didn't want her to retire. There was really no need to raise such a condition. If she could, she also wanted to continue. However, she understood that her presence would only pull down the battle strength of the battle team. Moreover, there would be people who would say, look, the Xiangnan team that could make her stay isn't that great. But Luo didn't say anything. It was because he coveted his gentleness when she was still here. Chapter 1560. Xiao Jing, who was still watching the live stream, didn't notice Luo's emotions. After all, it wasn't easy for Xiao Jing to find out about this. Zhao Sanpang had nothing to do, so he decided to commentate the live stream in the training room at the side. Hello, can you hear me? Yup, I don't know what the commentators on the internet are affected by, but their commentary is too one-sided. Now, let me, Lord Fatty, personally say it. The score on the battlefield is 1-0. I'm not exaggerating or slandering, but it wasn't easy to get that first kill. Don't talk nonsense to me. It's obvious that the teammates are isolating Bei. But speaking of which, you still don't understand the Supreme Alliance. No, I should say that you don't understand Little Spade. How can the disciple she chose be just good-looking? What are you thinking? Someone like me? Why can't someone like me enter the Supreme Alliance? He, the person who said I'm too fat, stop right there. I'm just fat for fun. When I have a girlfriend like Captain, I'll immediately become Takashi Kaneshiro. Alright, back to the main topic. Although Bei got the first blood, the competition rules are clear. Whoever enters the next round depends on the overall score of this round. I'm siding with Bei? Get it straight, little friend. I obviously want to poach Bei to our Xiangnan. How can I just siding with her? Yes. You really can't understand our thoughts as geniuses. Disappointed? Whatever, Lord Fatty, rely on my face to make a living. Xiangnan didn't get the championship this year and the members are all bad-tempered? My temper isn't good recently, but it has nothing to do with winning or losing. It's because my most important teammate has retired. Alright, let's not talk about this. Let's get back to the competition. Bei needs to be careful. During the team battle, will her teammates, before Zhao Sanpang could finish his sentence. On the screen, the first team battle in the jungle had started. Mo Bei went to support. But the three of them didn't come out immediately after Mo Bei used her skill and took ahead. They didn't come out immediately. Instead, they watched from the bushes and only came out after Mo Bei was killed. This looked like a perfect assassin's harvest. But they could have come out earlier. At least, they could have helped Mo Bei resist a wave of damage. But no one went to resist. Zhao Sanpang couldn't help but say, F***ck, it's really that sneaky. Someone immediately objected. Zhao Sanpang was a conspiracy theorist. They were both trainees. Why was he siding with Bei? Also, the wave of assassins just now killed the most people. How was that a sneak attack? Didn't all competitions have to be played like this? Winning was the key. This was a layman's way of saying it. If an ordinary player were capable of such a feat, they would be doomed. Indeed, there was nothing, and there was nothing wrong. Or perhaps he was taught by another team. There was no problem. But Supreme Alliance wouldn't teach its members that way. What's more, it wasn't for the sake of winning. It was just to sell out a teammate and pull down a person's score. Even Supreme Alliance, the organizer, couldn't say anything. Because once someone said that this kind of fighting style was wrong, that would cause even greater ripples. After all, they only believed that there was a problem with Supreme Alliance's recruitment. Those three trainees were the ones who truly loved esports. They had worked so hard for so long, why couldn't they make it? That Bei had merely been chosen by the internal department. Someone who did not have a team spirit was not the esports existence they had in mind. Group soul. They seemed to have gotten the word wrong. Group soul was never something that laymen could understand. What exactly was a group soul? Chapter 1561. In some people's eyes. The three trainees had become the representatives of the team spirit. After all, if it wasn't for the three trainees, they wouldn't have known that the Supreme Alliance was like this. Under such a situation. No matter if it was Bei or Spade Z, they didn't like it. Even if it was the entire team, it made them feel that if they didn't choose their members according to their way, it would be destroying them. Hence, they wouldn't really use logic to watch the live stream. In the end, the behavior of the three trainees could only be expressed in one word: team spirit. Zhao Sanpang wasn't the only one who could see it. Bo Jiao had noticed it a long time ago. She tilted her eyes, the mole under her eyes glowing brightly. But her eyes were cold, as though there wasn't any warmth in them. Coco, who was watching at the side, trembled. After all, he had never seen Little Spade like this. One must know that this fellow had always been a great seducer. Her lazy coolness could make the hearts of the people beside her jump. Today, it seemed to be unusually cold. In the game, the three of them started to suppress the whole game. After the first time she was sold. After Mo Bei revived, she stood in the bushes. She seemed to be thinking about something. When Bei set off again, everyone could see it. Bei changed her full attack equipment to a half tank and half attack equipment. Then, she started to eat the economy crazily. At the start, Bei only brought the top lane minions. But now, Bei had looted half of the jungle. In this way, it would definitely attract ridicule. Just now, they said that they sold Bei to suppress Bei. Look at what Bei is doing now. She isn't going to the team battle and is snatching the assassin's beasts in the jungle. Isn't she suppressing her teammates? Why isn't Master Fatty talking? Master Fatty can't be too double-standard, be careful not to get slapped in the face. Zhao Sanpang chewed on a spicy stick in his mouth and laughed. Come, let's explain this to the audience who can understand. In the normal playstyle, the jungle should be left to the assassin first. That's right. But the premise was that it was a normal way of fighting. It was obvious that it was not a normal way of fighting now. Was Bei stupid just because she was young? I didn't realize that I was betrayed once, but I still want to be betrayed again in the team battle. Anyone can see through the situation now. They want to drag me down, but I won't. After I earn enough money, I'll get ready and rely on my positioning and hand speed. Even if I'm betrayed again, I'll be able to fight 1 against 5. This is Bei's next battle strategy. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm helpless. You're just trying to clear Bei's name. Zhao Sanpang swallowed the spicy stick. In your eyes, Little Spade is black, Bei is black, and Luo is black. There's no such thing as white people. We're all yellow people, hee hee. When I heard the end, I started singing along for no reason. My Lord Fatty is poisonous. Lord Fatty's commentary is 666. Master Fatty, don't eat so much. Captain Xiao already has a girlfriend. Seriously, it's time for you to think about your marriage. Stop dreaming about having female fans. It's all us men. Brother Fatty, let me give you a bomb. It's fresher. I've seen it. The female fans came here specially to scold you. There's no other meaning. We know that Luo retired and you're upset. Brother, I have wine here. If you're unhappy, say it. Let everyone be happy. Zhao Sanpang felt that there was something wrong with his fans. He looked at his family and then at Little Spade. A group of pretty girls were saying, hubby, you're so handsome today. I saw you during the broadcast just now. I'm so happy that I'm breathing in oxygen. This is Spade's girlfriend number 1. What if there are too many love rivals around? Hubby, when are you going to commentate? Zhao Sanpang is doing it next door. If you do it, I'll be satisfied just by looking at your face. The scene was completely different. There would be no harm if there was no comparison. Zhao Sanpang took a screenshot and posted it on the public chat. He reminded his male fans. The difference is like heaven and earth. I need to be loved too, understand? How much does Little Spade weigh? How much do you weigh? Wake up. You competed with a girl and lost to her. Brother Pang, you're really not as handsome as Spade Z. Brother Pang, are you joking with us? They couldn't communicate anymore. Zhao Sanpang hugged himself and turned his attention back to the competition. The second team battle. Bei won't go up this time. You're wrong. Look at the location on the map. This team battle is near Bei. As Zhao Sanpang finished his sentence, everyone saw Bei approaching with her long knife on the screen. First, she pinned down the opponent's ADC who had low HP. Then, the opponent's teammate came to support. Bei turned around and slashed 3 times. She blocked the 2 opponents. While the dizziness effect was still active, she used a big move. But it happened in an instant. Then, a sound effect was heard. Double kill. At this moment, Bei's position was especially dangerous. Bei had used up all her moves. Even if the opponent had low HP, she couldn't be killed. It was obvious that the three of them were planning to use the same strategy to kill Mo Bei again. Then, they would go in and kill. This way, even if Mo Bei killed twice, her score wouldn't increase. After all, she had died more times. But in the next second, there was an obvious change in Mo Bei's way of doing things. She didn't attack the opponent who had low HP. Instead, she took another big move from the opponent and turned to leave. She used her precise positioning and hid in the bushes. Then, she relied on her familiarity with the map and the opponent's positioning to jump back to the defense tower. At this moment, the assassin among the three of them had indeed killed again. 3 kills were in the bag. In this way, the final result. The assassin was the best player of the match. But what made them furious was that Bei was in second place. Which meant that their ideal result wasn't achieved. But one of them was considered perfect. At least, the best player of the match was theirs. As long as the best player of the match was still won by the assassin in the next match, one of them would become the center of attention. By then, it wouldn't matter whether they stayed in the Supreme Alliance or not. There would be reporters and teams looking for them. Regarding such an outcome, there would definitely be people who would mock Zhao Sanpang. Master Fatty, you should indeed poach Bei to Xiangnan. She's in second place, it's suitable. This time, her image as a genius can't be sold. After fighting for so long, she's still in second place. Chapter 1562. The result of the victory made the 3 trainees look at each other. They felt that this was a good method. Coco was a little angry. He even thought that if there was such a person joining the Supreme Alliance in the future, it would be better to disband it. When this thought slipped through his mind, Coco paused. Coco was stunned. Most of the time, this thought had never crossed his mind. Even though he had encountered so many things, he had always wanted to persevere. Actually, if he thought about it carefully, ever since Lin Feng officially announced his retirement, he had such a thought. The Supreme Alliance was liked by too many people. They seemed to be able to withstand the scolding but not the love. Because once they were liked, they couldn't let them down. That was why he restrained himself. Some words couldn't be said anymore. That was the only way to retain the beautiful image in people's hearts. This didn't seem to be his initial intention in playing esports. Coco moved his fingers. He sat there as though he couldn't stand up. Bojio tilted her head and glanced at him. It's halftime. Aren't you eating? Coco lowered his head. I don't have an appetite. Are we going to play with such people in the future? Coco, do you need me to remind you? Bojio stood up, her side profile evil. The competition isn't over yet. Coco bit the rabbit's ear. That person won the best of the match? So what? Bojio turned against the light and cast her shadow down. They can only be arrogant when they are teammates. Once they are on the opposite side, it won't be so easy. With that, she suddenly placed a hand on her lips and said loudly, Bei, come here. Coco's expression changed. He reached out to press her down. Little Spade, are you crazy? If you get close to Lil Bebe now, they will believe the words of those 3 people and say that Lil Bebe came in through the back door. What if I take off my uniform? Then, she held onto the railing with one hand and jumped into the Supreme Alliance's specially prepared arena for the selection contest. With one hand in her pocket, she smiled devilishly. I can just retire too. Bojio said as she pulled up her zipper and threw her black jacket onto the chair. Then, she held onto the railing with one hand and jumped into the arena that the Supreme Alliance had specially prepared for the selection contest. Coco was stunned. Bojio's voice could be heard in the live stream. Because they could hear it. Therefore, the bullet screen was simply flying. F***CK, what's going on? It must be fake. Big Spade retired? Retire? Why? Retiring just like that? What are they doing? Almighty Chin, don't say anything. Hurry up and use the excuse of being noisy to make your wife take back her words of retirement. Why do I feel like the Supreme Alliance members treat retirement like a game? Is this child's play? He's not even wearing his uniform, and almighty Chin is here, but he didn't stop him. Indeed, Chin Mo was standing there. He was still the same as when they first met him, wearing a dark black combat uniform. When he looked at the youth who was laughing recklessly, his gaze was always warmer than usual. Bo Jiao stood there, ignoring the uproar. The three trainees did not expect her to do this. Just like that, he stood in front of them. Chapter 1563. You can use morals to threaten the Supreme Alliance, but to me, it's useless. I'm not a pure person. With that, Bo Jiao glanced over and said, "Bei, come here." Because the live stream was an audio recording. The audience couldn't see Bo Jiao's face at all. But they could imagine the scene just from the voice. She was still handsome beyond everyone's expectations. Her silver hair was messy as she stood there. She didn't seem to be controlled by anything. Zhao Sanpang, who was on the other end of the computer, was laughing hysterically. As expected of Little Spade, she's so cool. According to the feedback from the audience, she even took off her uniform. It seems like she's really going to cause trouble. Little Mo Bei's head was spinning. Actually, everything else had nothing to do with her. She came to the Supreme Alliance. Other than the fact that she liked to play sports. It was also because of one person. Spade Z. Her favorite esports player. If there was a brainless fan, she would be the brainless fan herself. When she thought about joining the Supreme Alliance one day and being able to fight alongside this person, she felt that everything was filled with hope. Now, this person was going to retire. It was sudden and without any warning. Compared to so many things. It couldn't compare to the fact that this person was going to retire. Little Mo Bei walked to Bo Jiao's side and was about to speak when someone rubbed her head. That person had a smile on his face as he looked down at her. "My disciple, you're still so cute even after being bullied." Little Mo Bei's expressionless face was slightly red. "No. It's nothing. I saw everything." Bo Jiao reached out and placed something in Little Mo Bei's hands. Little Mo Bei opened her palm. There was a wristband lying there. The wristband was completely black and there were two words, Supreme Alliance, embroidered on it. Little Mo Bei paused. She looked at the thing in her palm and her gaze wavered. Bo Jiao bent down and whispered something into her ear. Her voice was very soft. She could only vaguely hear a sentence. "Do you understand what I mean?" Little Mo Bei clenched her fists. She didn't speak much. "I understand. Let's go then." Bo Jiao smiled. "MMH," Little Mo Bei replied with a serious face. There were still many people asking if Spade Z would really retire. After all, Spade Z wasn't like the other team members. If he didn't retire, it would be difficult for him to continue playing. Spade Z was in her golden age. In terms of age and hand speed, no one in the country would be able to surpass her in the next year. Many people did not understand why she wanted to leave. It was simple. She knew how important Supreme Alliance was to that person. He had persevered for so many years. She didn't want to see him just watch as some people joined and think of a way to solve the problem. There was nothing to be gloomy about. This was a problem that every team would face in the end. After all, liking also changed according to the situation. And if you like it, you will feel that you are doing the right thing. When you like someone for a long time, you will have requirements. This was the foundation of man. The root of the problem could not be solved. Let's exchange positions. Some people really wanted to use this method to join the Supreme Alliance. Or they could call themselves the Supreme Alliance. That would have to wait until he or they couldn't see it. Bo Jiao had never done things in a complicated manner. Even Coco felt aggrieved. Chapter 1564. She was originally very dashing. Unexpectedly, after Bojio finished instructing little Mo Bei, she stood up. The back of her collar was tugged by someone. It was Chin Mo. He stood behind Bojio and said calmly to the staff, "I'll be taking her away. You guys can tabulate the scores for the next round. Also, make a data map. I want to know who the best player in the previous round is based on individual damage." He didn't agree to Bojio's retirement. Instead, he asked them to make a new data map. It was also because of his decision. That was why the three trainees' expressions changed. They knew clearly that based on their current results, they had a certain advantage in terms of participation rate and damage. But if it was based on individual damage to the enemy, Bei would definitely be the highest. It was the same for Almighty Qin. Did he only look at individual combat ability and not the cooperation between the team members? Some of the people listening to the live stream didn't understand. What is Almighty Qin doing? Doesn't he believe in the data map given by the game? The results are there for all to see, okay? As the commentator, Zhao Sanpang spoke up. The best player in the game should be the person who has the most influence in the team. From the analysis of the damage taken to the damage dealt to the enemy, once the team battle starts, the person who contributes the most is clear. Sometimes, the victory of a team battle is entirely because of a good tank support who roars out a big move at the most crucial moment. Not only does he protect the damage output from the back, he also cooperates with the assassin to harvest. Even if he dies, he should still be the best player in the game. Honestly, in this competition, if someone didn't want to betray his teammate, everyone would be able to see who the best player in the game is. Those who believe in the game map given in such an environment should believe it. Those who don't should continue watching the competition. Qin Mo asked for the map with the highest damage to the enemy. That's how the team chooses its members. There's no point in choosing a bastard. Some girls might not understand. You can understand it simply. Qin Mo came out to bring Little Spade back. After all, this guy has always been jealous. Alright, let's stop talking. The second round is coming. Everyone was still immersed in the news of Spade Z's retirement. Just then, the livestream screen switched to the game. This time, there were also 10 people participating in the competition. The only difference was that it was an individual competition instead of a team competition. Everyone had their own camp. The game map was the most difficult fog map. This was indeed a test of everyone's basic skills. Only those who had mastered the game would have the courage to challenge such a map. After entering the game, everyone's position would be different. As soon as someone came up, they would run into someone else. Before they had the time to kill monsters in the wild to buy equipment, they would start fighting each other. Under such circumstances, it was also a test of individual skills. Whoever had better positioning and awareness would be eliminated under the same conditions. But obviously, the three of them didn't think so. They were originally good friends. As soon as they entered the game, they reported their locations and found each other. Then, they began their encirclement. One of them was the main attacker, while the other two were the support. The rules did not say that it was not allowed. Chapter 1565. It was really shameless to use such a method. Coco had lost count of the number of times he had bitten the rabbit's ear in his arms. The three trainees had obviously come prepared. If not, they wouldn't have used such an excuse to make Supreme Alliance speechless. If Supreme Alliance said that the results didn't count, that was unless they admitted that there was a problem with the competition system. But once they admitted that there was a problem with the competition system, it would mean that their previous words were a slap in the face. Coco was really angry. This is their motive, they went one round just to set up this trap. Rao Rong replied. If this continues, only the three of them will be able to join Supreme Alliance. Indeed, they were people who had passed Supreme Alliance's internal test, which meant that they were stronger than ordinary people. If the three of them worked together, it wouldn't be easy for the other contestants. However, in the eyes of those who no longer believed in Supreme Alliance, The three trainees weren't wrong at all. Who asked the competition system to be so unfair? Since it wasn't fair, they had to use their own methods to win. The reason they did this was because Supreme Alliance didn't respect those who relied on their own hard work to achieve. But in reality, they had noticed the loophole in the competition system right from the start. But they didn't say it because they wanted to make use of it. Hence, the reason they threw out was that the competition system wasn't fair and not the tiny loophole. It was a brilliant idea. But it's impossible for Qin Mo to not notice such a loophole. That was Zhao Sanpeng's doubt. Unless he, before Zhao Sanpeng could finish his thought. The second person that the three trainees had locked onto appeared on the screen. But this time, before they could attack, someone blocked their way. It was Bei. At this moment, everyone noticed that Bei had used an assassin this time. Her white clothes fluttered and she had already passed the wilderness. Almost everyone watching the live stream. They saw the words that appeared on the public screen. 1 against 3, come. Mo Bei was indeed truthful. If it was Bojiu, she would definitely be nonchalant. For example, don't you guys like to fight 1 against 3? Daddy will play with you. But the effect would be the same. That was because when the three trainees saw the words, they were shocked. One by one, they adjusted their positions. Since someone had come to die, they would fulfill his wish. Anyway, their ultimate target was Bei. If he did not come to them, they would come to him. Getting rid of him in one go would save him trouble in the future. One of the sorcerers hid in the bushes strategically, waiting for Bei to come so that he could control her. The other two trainees stood in the middle, creating an illusion. This way of playing was indeed a little sinister. But playing games was like that. There was nothing wrong with that method. If he didn't notice the mage hiding in the bushes, there was no need to say anything since he wasn't as skilled as the other. As Bei entered, Zhao Sanpeng's old heart started to feel nervous. If Little Spade was the one on the field, he definitely wouldn't be nervous. This was because this was a common occurrence for Little Spade. The opponent was scheming. Little Spade was an experienced gamer and he could tell. But Bei was different. Bei was a newcomer. It was said that he was still a child. Zhao Sanpeng felt that the naive, romantic, and innocent Bei should not be suitable. Before Zhao Sanpeng could say anything, he saw the figure on the screen move. They all thought that Bei would pass through the bushes. Unexpectedly, this person did not walk that way. Instead, he used displacement to move back and forth twice. After tricking the opponent into using a big move, he then moved forward. Zhao Sanpeng was stunned. Zhao Sanpeng exclaimed, F***ck, this way of playing. Spade Z's? A fan asked. Zhao Sanpeng bit the spicy strip in his hand fiercely. F***ck. How could Little Spade have taught him such a shameless strategy? This is clearly Qin Mo's doing. Back then, he used this exact maneuver to cheat me of my big move. As Zhao Sanpeng finished his sentence. When the sorcerer trainee on the screen realized what was going on, the figure had already appeared behind him. The long sword swept across, and the silver light fell. A familiar sound was heard. First blood. Blood. The first drop of blood. But it wasn't over yet. After Bei revealed her whereabouts, the two of them would definitely come to support her immediately. One of them had already attacked Bei. Little Mo Bei waved her mouse and hid in the bushes. She only had half a tank of blood left. She had half a tank of blood against the two opponents. One of them was a tank and the other an ADC. Her chances of winning weren't that high. Zhao Sanpeng didn't comment because he knew that no one would be able to become Qin Mo. If it had been Qin Mo just now, he definitely wouldn't have wasted a single drop of blood. But it was already very rare for Bei to be able to do this. Most importantly, the child didn't panic. Instead, she used the game map and started to move. The two trainees were about to catch up to Bei. Unexpectedly, in the next second, Bei used her second skill to recover and teleported back to her original position. She killed a wild monster and ate a mouthful of blood. Her hand speed was so fast that the people watching the live stream couldn't react in time. Little Mo Bei started her second round of advancement. The two trainees were planning to punch Bei until she died. However, the other party had predicted their movements one step ahead of them. When the electric formation was set up, they thought that the opponent was going to go big. They didn't expect Bei to rush in front of them. Is she moving in the wrong position? Rushing in front of her? This maneuver is really a noob. She doesn't look like a genius at all. The two trainees thought the same way too. They seized the opportunity to take Bei away with a set of skills. Hence, they moved the keyboard in their left hand and used all their moves. But at this moment, Bei's body seemed to be covered by a layer of protective shield. It absorbed all the damage instantly and she didn't even lose a single drop of blood. It was the golden shield. Bei wasn't a noob when she rushed over just now. But there was no chance. How could an ADC who had used all his moves fight against an assassin? Moreover, this assassin was so fierce that she had no friends. She could take the opponent's head in an instant. There were two of them in the same area. People who weren't familiar with the game map wouldn't be able to do such maneuvers. People who weren't fast enough wouldn't be able to do it. People who didn't know how to switch their equipment and people who didn't have consciousness wouldn't be able to do it. But Bei did it. Double kill, double kill. 1 against 3. She won. Not only did she win, she won in a clean manner. She didn't say a single word. Her clean manner made everyone fall into silence. Of course, those who mocked her would continue to mock her. They said that there was something wrong with Bei's playing style and that it wasn't her own move but Almighty Qin's. They couldn't just eliminate the 3 trainees just like that. However, to the Supreme Alliance, it wasn't important. It wasn't important to Mo Bei. She lowered her lids to look at the wrist guard on her right hand. Even if it had ended before it had even started. Even if it had only once, she had protected this team. It was as though her dream had come true. Moreover, wearing this wrist guard, it was as though that person was holding onto the mouse through her hand and was fighting with her. The back of little Mo Bei's ears turned red. She didn't say anything and continued to accept the challenge. In the end, the results of the competition were out. She deserved the title of the best in this match. However, it was also because of the results of the previous match. According to the rules, Mo Bei couldn't be included in the Supreme Alliance. Because once Mo Bei was qualified, it meant that the trainee who won the title of the best in the previous match was qualified too. Just as everyone was discussing how to judge, Qin Mo reached out his hand to press the keyboard. There is nothing difficult to judge. Let's look at the individual damage value. Whoever has the highest damage will stay. One of the 3 trainees who won the title of best couldn't take it anymore. He knew that it was still a live broadcast, so he asked, "Almighty Qin, is this how you choose people? Do you think this meets the standards?" Everyone thought that Qin Mo would explain. He thought so too. Otherwise, he wouldn't have asked this question. However, unexpectedly, Qin Mo only lifted his eyelids. His voice was calm and he exuded an air of nobility. The Supreme Alliance is formed by me. I decide how to choose people and what the standards are. What has it got to do with you? His words were filled with mockery. The trainee froze on the spot. Zhao Sanpang was about to collapse from laughter on the other side of the screen. This is the first time I feel that Qin Mo's sharp tongue isn't bad. However, his own team has the confidence. Me? I don't dare to say that. Xiangnan has a senior ahead of him. Unlike the Supreme Alliance, Qin Mo fought his way up. Honestly, how he chooses people has nothing to do with anyone. A fan asked, since that's the case, why didn't Almighty Qin say this earlier? Zhao Sanpang thought about it and shook his head. He smiled. Do you think that Qin Mo doesn't feel anything when so many people retire? Other than Yunhu, Lin Feng's retirement should be him. He is the captain of the Supreme Alliance. After Lin Feng leaves, Yunhu will leave and Rao Rong won't be able to play for long. I told you before that you don't understand that feeling. The people who have accompanied you all the way till now have all retired. Do you think you would be indifferent? If you ask me how I feel, I have complicated feelings. Even in my dreams, when I was younger, Luo, captain, and I saw the arrogant guy sitting on the bench. That's right, it was Qin Mo. At that moment, I knew that this guy was definitely my enemy. What do you mean I'm bragging? If you don't believe me, after my live broadcast, you can ask Qin Mo which team he thinks is the most difficult to beat. It has to be our Xiangnan. 3 years, we have been enemies for 3 years. 3 years? Had it been so long? Zhao Sanpeng's voice was heard. Luo stood there, leaning against the wall and smiling. Even now, the moment she closed her eyes, she could still remember the first time they met Qin Mo. He was indeed arrogant. Regardless of the outcome. They were very fortunate. In their best years. Chapter 1566. On this day, Bei became the only member that Supreme Alliance recruited before it disbanded. At that time, many people didn't know that Supreme Alliance would disband. Those that should be mocked were still mocked, adding all sorts of negative information to the story. Some of the fans were disappointed, some of them stayed, and some of them supported her. To put it in the cruelest way, no one would always like one team. That was the norm. But people didn't understand. Once they liked someone, it was enough for them to be grateful. Hence, when Lin Feng appeared again, he had changed his appearance. Just as Yunhu had said, this person was surprisingly suited to wear a suit. It was probably because his skin was too white. Even when he pushed the door open, the wrist with the watch band seemed very textured. Young lord, the guests are all here. It was Grandfather Butler. He was still wearing a British tuxedo with a bouquet of roses in front of his chest. He was very gentlemanly. I'll go prepare the meal now. Okay. When Bo Jio replied, she was still teaching little Mo Bei how to name a game account. Her original words were like this. Since you're such a cute girl, don't give her a rigid name. Just call her obedient disciple. It's cute and salty. Lin Feng loosened his collar. Little Spade, which era did Grandfather Butler come from? Why does he keep calling you young lord? Rao Rong, who was preparing the ingredients, glanced over when he heard this. He smiled. He wanted to know how Z was going to answer this question. Bo Jio smiled. I didn't intend to tell everyone about this, but since you're so curious, I'll tell you the truth. Lin Feng sat up straight and focused his attention. Bo Jio lowered her voice. Actually, my biological father isn't Fu Zhongyi. Look at him, he doesn't look like him, right? Lin Feng's eyes widened. Did Auntie? She didn't. I'm a surrogate parent. Mother, he has been taking care of me on behalf of my parents. I used to be an aristocrat, but one year, there was a war between the aristocrats. My parents were worried that I would be in danger. You read novels often, so you should understand. Lin Feng nodded in agreement. I understand. MMH, Bo Jio replied and continued, at that time, the situation wasn't stable, so Grandfather Butler sent me here. Because I was too young, I didn't know who I was and hadn't been in contact with the other side for so many years. Moreover, the war was chaotic and he wasn't able to protect me, which was why Grandfather Butler didn't look for me. Now that the other side has stabilized, Grandfather Butler is here. He calls me young lord because I'm in charge now since I've inherited the family fortune. Lin Feng thought about the most common plot in novels, and his eyes widened. Don't tell me there's a forest castle in your property? Isn't this a necessity? Grandpa Butler appeared with a dining cart at the right time. He turned his head and smiled. Lin Feng, Rao Rong, Coco was speechless. A forest castle was a necessity? He, the young master of a rich family, did not seem to be rich enough. How is this inheritance passed on? I'll give it a try some other day. Coco's eyes were filled with envy. He wanted to live in a forest castle. Chapter 1567. Qin Mo tilted his head, placing a book in Rao Rong's hands. Source of inspiration. Rao Rong glanced at the title, falling silent. The overbearing school hunk falls in love with me. He flipped through the first page and was confused by the prefixes. Inheriting billions, princess in a castle, driving a private jet to school, etc. Rao Rong face-bombed. He was getting old, unable to understand the preferences of youngsters. They were having hot pot. Every time Supreme Alliance had a gathering, they would either have barbecue or hot pot. Their mood would always improve after eating hot pot. This time wasn't an exception. Lin Feng seemed to have drunk a little too much. When he placed his arm on Bojio's shoulder, he didn't even notice Qin Mo's gaze. But today, Qin Mo didn't seem to care. That was because of both Lin Feng and Yunhu. They weren't wearing their team uniforms today, they were wearing suits. I'm telling you, little spade, there's no need to be nervous. There's less than a month left. You should eat, play, and learn. Don't give yourself too much pressure. Perhaps, you might be able to perform better than you normally do. But a university's curriculum is insane, you'll understand when you get there. There isn't another university like a university, where everyone is a top student. Bojio laughed lightly. Flower Lin, don't forget you're from a university too. I really put in a lot of effort to get in. Lin Feng lowered his voice. If it wasn't for Yunhu, I would have just gone there casually. I wasn't interested in studying, but it's different now. I'm studying both business and economics. It feels like there's a gap if I don't study. Bojio arched a brow. You feel the same way too. You have to be prepared for a rainy day. Lin Feng rolled up his sleeves, preparing to scoop up a piece of beef. Yunhu was one step ahead of him, placing the beef onto his plate in a natural manner. Bojio glanced over, touching Lin Feng's shoulder. Attack? Lin Feng. F***ck, why did he have to get meat for him now? Cheers. Bojio smiled, touching his can of beer. Lin Feng smiled too. Coco was still shouting, don't snatch my prawns, they aren't cooked yet. F***ck, Feng Shang, did you starve in your previous life? Shut up. Feng Shang blushed easily, especially after drinking. Do you know who I am? I'm the #1 RMB player in Zone C. Coco chuckled. Are you going to fly me? Yao Yao, who is beside watching these two people naively taking out their handphone to log in the game, she can't help but smile. When he looked at the row of people sitting opposite him, his gaze was gentle. He no longer wore his battle uniform. It wasn't just the uncle, even God Lin and God Yun were the same. But even if he was wearing a custom-made suit, he would pull open his collar and drink like a teenager. He even fought for the meat in the hot pot like before. Just like the first time they met. No one had changed. That was great. This day was destined to be an all-nighter. It seemed like he didn't want to point it out. Everyone understood this. This meal was a farewell meal. Next, Lin Feng would officially take over the Lin family and would no longer participate in any competitions or esports activities. Uncle Ian bought a ticket to Tibet. He said that he wanted to go for a walk. He was always sitting in front of the computer and wanted to experience life. Bojio was about to take her college entrance exam. This was probably the happiest. Chapter 1568. The college entrance examination was very important to many people. In the past, Bojio didn't have much experience. Now, even Grandfather Butler said that he couldn't recognize his young lord. In order to marry Qin Mo, Lord Jiu worked very hard. Of course, she had to read some bedtime books to help her make up stories and matchmake people. Hence, the next day, The Almighty reached his hand out. Give me your phone. What are you doing? Bo Jiao was a magnanimous person. Of course, she couldn't give her phone to anyone, not even little Princess Qin. But the Almighty had always been someone who wouldn't let go until he achieved his goal. He reached his hand out and took the phone from her uniform pocket. Bo Jiao. Brother Mo, you look like a girl checking on her boyfriend. Oh. Qin Mo raised his eyebrows nonchalantly. His fingers slid to a few books and was about to delete them. He didn't want her to put her thoughts on things she shouldn't be and ignore him, her boyfriend. Bo Jiao's hand moved. Don't delete them, Brother Mo. I learned the method to chase you from this. I haven't used it yet. Is that so? Qin Mo moved his fingers away. It seems like it's still useful. Bo Jiao smiled. Of course it's useful. After reading it, she could understand Yao Yao and Luolua's thoughts. When girls liked someone, they didn't seem to be very confident. She was probably too thick-skinned. Or perhaps, the person in front of her had never made her feel inferior. Because a long time ago, he held her in his hands. When they were young, he called her an idiot. But he even did things like washing her hands and tying her shoelaces. He was so warm that she couldn't forget about him after she got him. No wonder she felt lonely drinking alone in the Fifth Avenue. She hadn't found the person she was looking for. Everything was fine now. Bo Jiao leaned forward and lowered her eyes to kiss the person sitting on the sofa. Then she threw her laptop bag over her shoulder. Her eyes were bright and devilish. I'm going to work. Wait for me at home. After seeing this scene, the top assistant who came to pick up Boss Qin looked back at him. Seeing the smile on Boss Qin's face, he coughed lightly. Boss Qin, it looks like Miss Jiao is the one who brings up the family. Is that okay? What's the problem? Qin Mo's face was elegant as he held on to his phone. His fingers swiped across the screen before he said, a person like your assistant who runs around every day probably doesn't understand the comfort of being taken care of by a girlfriend. If you don't live in the same environment, you won't be able to understand it. Golden assistant. His CEO's way of showing off his affection without feeling ashamed was enough. Found it. Qin Mo's fingers paused. The assistant thought it was something important. What are you looking for? As he spoke, he glanced sideways at Zhang Xian. After seeing the page on the phone, his expression suddenly became a little speechless. Someone was reading a book recently. She said she could learn how to woo me from it. This should be her reading account. Qin Mo's voice was calm. Golden assistant, but CEO Qin, why did you get a reading account? You can't be reading this kind of book, right? It's nothing. Qin Mo lifted his lids nonchalantly. It's just to let people know about the couple's account. At the same time, tip the author and ask him to write more scenes of a girl chasing after a guy. Chapter 1569. Wednesday. It was a day that Xiangnan didn't want to face. It was probably a day that they didn't want to face. Because they had to send someone away. That person had spent 3 years here. What did 3 years mean? It meant that they could turn a high school student into a university student. It meant that they would grow from a teenager to a young adult. It meant growth. It also meant separation. Luo didn't want to make it too grand. But even she didn't know that after the press conference. Why were the Supreme Alliance members here too? Lin Feng was even wearing a suit. He had a tall and slender figure. Lin Hua, who looked like a dog, lit up everyone's eyes. She couldn't recognize him. Her brother Fatty was the same as before. When he saw Qin Mo, it was as though he was looking at his enemy. Ice Block Qin, who asked you to come? Please, can't you be more competitive? This isn't the Supreme Alliance, this is Xiangnan. Why did you bring a bunch of people to our Xiangnan? Qin Mo was wearing a beige trench coat. He lifted his eyelids slightly and glanced at the time. 12:30 a.m. What 12:30 a.m.? I'm asking you a question, why are you wasting time with me? Zhao Sanpang was confused. Qin Mo's gaze was still cold. There wasn't much warmth in it. A person like the world's most handsome fatty wouldn't care about being enemies. Ah, of course. Zhao Sanpang straightened his back. Why don't you find out who I am? I'm straightforward and I rely on my face to make a living. Even if we are enemies, we can still win next year. Qin Mo didn't bother about the end of his sentence. He wiped his hands. Since that's the case, this master fatty wouldn't mind treating us to a good meal. It's just a meal, there's... Zhao Sanpang paused. He grabbed his hair. I was wondering why he suddenly praised me. Little Spade, do you think it's appropriate for your man to behave like this? Bo Jiao smiled, replying naturally, it's appropriate. I should show you my respect as the host. Zhao Sanpang. You guys aren't here to send Luo Luo off. You are here with a bunch of Supreme Alliance members for a free meal, right? Also, why did he ask Little Spade that question? In Little Spade's eyes, Qin Mo, that shameless bastard, could do anything. If that's the case, Master Fatty can reimburse us for our high-speed train tickets too. Coco bit the rabbit's ear. I'm poor recently. Zhao Sanpang took a deep breath, pointing at himself and then at Qin Mo, young master of a rich family, wearing branded clothes from head to toe, and still in Supreme Alliance. How can you complain about being poor to a Xiangnan kid like me? Where's your conscience? Don't worry about the details. You know that if I can't play well in the future, I'll have to go back and inherit the family business. It'll be painful, Coco said seriously. Zhao Sanpang felt like he was going crazy. At the end of the day, the Xiangnan people were leaving. Why did Supreme Alliance come over? But, looking at Luoluo's expression, she should be very happy. Zhao Sanpang turned his head away. Bo Jiao stuffed one hand into her pocket, the other hand holding a bouquet of white roses. She placed it in Luoluo's hands, smiling lightly, clean and handsome. My goddess is leaving, I can't bear to part with her. My god of spades asked me to stay. Maybe I would stay. Luoluo continued her sentence well. Her face was still slightly red. Chapter 1570. Before Luoluo could react. Just then, someone pulled Bo Jiao back. It was Qin Mo. His handsome face was elegant, but his voice was calm. If you hug her, Coco and the others will ask for a hug too. Luoluo is a girl. Does everyone want to hug her? There are so many boys here, it's better to skip this etiquette. Bo Jiao paused. She knew that the Almighty wasn't jealous, but his words made sense. Forget it, let's not hug. Luoluo also smiled. Coco truly felt that his captain was getting more and more shameless. You can always use them as an excuse. When had they ever asked for a hug? Zhao Sanpang didn't think much of it. It was just a hug. He decisively stepped forward. If Little Spade doesn't want to carry him, I'll carry him. At this moment, Lin Feng loved to watch a show. He said from the side, go ahead and hug him. If you hug him, you'll be dead. Are you sure your team leader won't send you straight to the sky? Zhao Sanpeng's outstretched hand froze in the middle. Holy shit, why didn't he think of that? He couldn't help but look at his captain. He was about to find an excuse to withdraw his hand. Unexpectedly, Luoluo was one step ahead of him. Her breath blew over. Master Fatty, thank you for taking care of me for so many years. I know that the snacks you put on the table are actually for me to eat. Zhao Sanpang had long treated Luoluo as his family. They had been together for so many years. They had advanced and retreated together for so long. It seemed that only a hug could express those emotions. Take good care of yourself in the future. Don't work so hard and don't endure it all the time. Listen to your brother Fatty. Girls should act coquettishly and it'll be easier on themselves. Don't always drink cold water, it's not good for girls. If you don't play games in the future, you won't have to stay up late. Go to bed early at night. I've stuffed a big bucket of wolfberries in your luggage, remember to brew it and drink it. Also, when two people are dating, don't give in to each other too much. No matter who he is, a guy is like you. The better you treat him, the less he appreciates you. It's the same. It seemed like it was because they were going to separate. All of a sudden, he wanted to say a lot of things. Especially when he was carrying this person in his arms. There were even more things he wanted to say. Luo didn't want to make the parting so sad. She laughed softly and asked, "Brother Fatty, you seem to have forgotten that you don't have a girlfriend yet." "I'm single based on my own merits." Zhao Sanpang was always good at saying golden sentences. Lin Feng stood there and said, "I think you're just relying on your own abilities to die. Are you really not afraid that Poker Face Xiao will settle the score with you?" "Seriously, as someone who has been through it, let me tell you, Sanpang, do you know my current situation? I just need to touch Little Spade's shoulder and my captain's eyes will follow." Zhao Sanpang was about to speak. Luolua's voice rang out. It was a little soft, so that person couldn't hear it. "He won't." Lin Feng raised his eyebrows. Luo smiled. "Our relationship isn't like Qin Mo and Spades. It's a misunderstanding." Bo Jiu glanced over. "Misunderstanding?" Chapter 1571. It couldn't be as simple as being a teammate. But Bo Jiu knew that it wasn't suitable for her to say that. That was the knot in their hearts. It was more suitable for Captain Xiao to resolve it. Lin Feng knew where the problem was. Luo had come all the way. No matter how strong a girl looked on the surface, there were things she cared about. Poker Face Xiao definitely didn't make it clear. "But, Luo, since Poker Face Xiao is already with you, I think you should think positively. If he doesn't like you, he won't be with you." Lin Feng's voice was very low. It was obvious that he didn't want Xiao Jing to hear it. That guy was really capable. Didn't he notice the problem in this aspect? It wasn't because Xiao Jing didn't do well enough, but because he had been through so much. Luo really hoped that there was someone who could tell her with certainty that he liked her and that he wanted to be with her. Just like him and Yunhu. If they really wanted to be with someone for a long time, they had to be more certain. Because he understood Luo. The difference between those lovers and themselves was too obvious. It was so obvious that sometimes, they weren't confident enough. Compared to him, Luo would probably have a harder time. After all, there were already many opposing voices. Luo laughed lightly. Luo laughed lightly. "I know that he doesn't hate me, but there are many types of likes. Our likes are different. Actually, I'm too greedy. I'm greedy for the tolerance he has given me since the beginning. Even after I retired, he was the one who helped me settle the rumors on the internet when I went on blind dates. I'm his team member and he can't bear to see his team members being bullied. I remember the first time someone exposed me, he also responded. I even specially went to ask him and this was the answer he gave me. Poker Face Xiao doesn't know how to speak. You know that." Lin Feng truly felt that Xiao Jing's EQ was worrying. Bo Jiu glanced down. "So, you don't think that he treats you as a lover? Because of what he said in the past?" "Not entirely." Luo flipped her long hair. "I won't do that. The most important thing is the current feeling. In the past, we didn't seem to be in a relationship. Every time we got close, would be extremely nervous. He was still the same as before. Sometimes, there was even a sense of distance. It wasn't the feeling of being lovers. Most of the time, we were comrades." Lin Feng was confused. "Why don't I understand?" Luo smiled generously. "To put it more bluntly, I want to develop further but he doesn't want to. Honestly, This is very frustrating for a girl. Ah, because of this. Lin Feng blushed. Cough, why is it because of this? Luoluo's smile was still there. I can't help it. As an adult, when you like someone, you want to get close to him and sleep with him. She stretched out her hand to give Luoluo a high five. She replied lazily, I agree. Luoluo. Lin, Luoluo as a girl as a, scary a girl. Luoluo as 8 as scary a girl. Luoluot. Is a as, luo as luo is as he. Chapter 1572. When Lin Feng heard this, he asked, then when you left this time, he didn't stop you? Luoluo nodded. Her smile was still as beautiful as before. He probably realized that he needs to think clearly about how he feels about me. There are some things that aren't convenient to say out loud. When we are further apart, some thoughts will fade away. He probably wants me to fade away too. Bo Jiao glanced sideways at the tall figure. There was only one thought in her mind: Xiao Jing wasn't exciting enough. The other side would definitely drink. Now that there was no competition, everyone didn't need to worry so much. Qin Mo had never been interested in other people's affairs, especially when it came to relationships. But when she saw that someone was about to open his arms and hug Luoluo, she was stunned. Almighty Qin activated the reminder mode. He swirled his wine glass and looked at Xiao Jing casually. Luoluo is leaving, aren't you going to stay? I'm not sure yet. Xiao Jing's voice was very low. After so many years, I'm used to taking care of her. She seems to know that too, so she bought a ticket to leave for a few days. Qin Mo's fingers paused. I see. Xiao Jing took a sip of wine. And if you spend too much time with him, you won't be able to tell whether you like him or admire him. You think Luoluo admires you? Qin Mo smiled with interest. I really admire you. Xiao Jing narrowed his eyes. I need to calm down. I also need to confirm if I'm suitable for her. When you are sure, other people will notice Luoluo. Qin Mo's gaze was calm. Luoluo shouldn't lack people who like her. Xiao Jing paused. After hearing this, he clenched the glass in his hand. Her actions didn't escape Qin Mo's eyes, but he didn't intend to discuss further. But she was still a little surprised that Xiao Jing would worry that someone would confuse their feelings for him. If it was someone else, it wouldn't matter. And that person was Luoluo. Since he already cared so much, what else was there to confirm? As the saying goes, the onlooker sees more clearly. A group of people were still drinking. The farewell meal was always eaten very slowly. When they saw Luoluo enter the high-speed rail station, the hugs that were supposed to come still came. Everyone hugged her. Xiao Jing was the only one missing. He had just received a phone call during the dinner. It was from an academic professor who suddenly felt unwell and asked him to go over. He originally thought that it was a serious illness, but he didn't expect that it was his teacher who wanted to matchmake him. The bespectacled teacher was a kind, white-haired scholar. You're all my students. I wanted to talk to you a long time ago, but I didn't when I saw that you were focused on research and games. Now that I'm still in good health, I'll introduce you to each other. Xiao Jing, if you think your junior sister isn't bad, you can look around. Teacher, why did you suddenly tell senior brother about this? The girl blushed, raised her eyes, and looked at Xiao Jing shyly, but also with joy. Xiao Jing didn't look at her. Instead, he stood up and said, Teacher, I didn't think about that. The teacher paused, afraid that the atmosphere would turn cold. Don't be so absolute. Do you think I don't know you well? You're never enlightened in this aspect. Anyway, you senior brother and junior sister should interact first. When the time comes. Chapter 1573. The teacher had never seen his prized student so anxious before. He tilted his head and looked at the other student. Who is your senior sending off? I don't know. The girl's eyes dimmed. Then, she smiled. It should be his teammate. I heard that someone from his team retired. You know that senior takes good care of everyone in his team. I see. The teacher smiled. Your senior isn't easy to get along with. He has never thought about relationships. Don't be anxious. Let nature take its course. As your teacher, I hope that you can be together. But I have to give you a piece of advice. Don't force it. The girl paused for a moment, then nodded and said, Teacher, what kind of person do you think I am? I do like senior brother, but it's not to the point of forcing him. But isn't it about taking the initiative now? You also know that senior brother is like that. If he doesn't take the initiative, he will never care about anyone. You're right. The teacher stood up. All right, your senior is leaving. Let's go to the research center. The girl grunted, but this time, she was a little distracted. It was all because of Xiao Jing's reaction. She received news that the woman would leave today. From her perspective, there would always be people who weren't worthy of him. But because of some special reasons, they could stay by his side and enjoy his care. Such people had to be clear-headed. They shouldn't treat care as love. This time, the woman should understand. She paid attention to her senior's team. Although it had nothing to do with her and was far from her life circle. But she could still tell what that woman was like from the comments of those people. She didn't seem to have a proper background. She was also uncultured. She was just a little famous on the internet. She really thought that she was a goddess. After retiring, she would be nothing. Soon, her fame would disappear. She would become worthless. She didn't seem like a boy. She wasn't completely thick-skinned. She still knew to leave on her own. This was the girl's truest thought. At the high-speed railway station, Luo was done with the security check. Many people didn't know. What had this man experienced with her? Even now, when Bo Jiao looked up, she saw her smile. She was natural and unrestrained, just like before. When so many people didn't stand up, she was the first female professional player in the esports circle to speak up for her. She called her Adonis, no matter what gender she was. Warm and sweet. Bo Jiao had promised Director Huang that she wouldn't act recklessly while he was in charge. However, when he saw Luo's back, he couldn't control himself. He reached out and grabbed her wrist. His voice was only audible to the two of them. Don't go. I'll take care of the things that made you unhappy. Chapter 1574. Alright, let's stop here. Luo turned after speaking. Bo Jiao's eyes deepened. Luo was really happy that this person came to send her off. In fact, most of the time, he was already very tired. But he still wanted to persevere. There was a long period of time when he was considering whether or not to give up. Every pro player seemed to have experienced this sort of situation before. Sometimes, when people were being talked about, they would want to turn off all sources of information. Tired, do not want to like again, is it worth it? This was probably a thought that had popped up for a long time. If it wasn't for Supreme Alliance's new lineup this year, she would probably consider retirement during the spring competition. The word condition was very subtle for esports players. Many people would be scolded to the point that they would have defenses in their hearts, to the point that they would have to consider whether or not this kind of fighting would cause a complete collapse. The more he cared, the worse the outcome would be. It wasn't like Luo had never experienced such a period. Perhaps he had gotten used to it, or perhaps he had become numb to it. At this moment, she saw that person. When he found out that Spade Z was a girl, it was as if there was a force telling him. Girls could also rely on their strength. Therefore, he still hoped that he would be able to look up and see the silhouette of that person jumping over the tower to kill. Many people did not understand. What is love? Luo thought that he probably wanted that person to stand in that position forever. Or, they would suddenly stop in their tracks and see the news of them being recognized. These things that couldn't be done, he really wished that someone else could do it. She didn't like anyone, but she didn't regret knowing them. He didn't feel anything when he was surrounded by a group of people. When the high-speed train really started moving, Luo turned her head and leaned against the window. Even her tears were silent. She reached out to fasten the hood of her coat so that no one would see it. As a girl, that was probably the case. But as an esports player, he could not. Just like Cat Bear had said before, there would be a lot of people watching them in a match, not to mention in real life, what would be revealed. What's more, it would take a while for him to truly be at peace after he retired. Luo wasn't afraid of being forgotten by anyone. However, he still felt that this was the case. When people you are familiar with leave, they will never talk about the same things again. What happened to him? Maybe you'll know. But what happened to you, and whether or not he would find out from someone else, he wouldn't know. Their social circles had always been different. Once they no longer had any connection to the team, between them can also cool down. He wondered if it would be awkward when they met in the future. Luo looked up at the scenery outside the window. All these years, she had liked someone before. Faithful to the end, serious and cowardly. He knew that if he went back like this, he would have to face things from his family. But Luo still chose this direction. It was time for the once rebellious girl to return home. Luo didn't know if playing esports had consumed all her passion and courage. No matter how much she was mocked, she wanted to stay. She wanted to play esports. She wanted to tell everyone that she could do it. As a result, she had become so cowardly when it came to liking someone. However, after thinking about it, even though she knew that he wasn't sure about his feelings for her, she still took advantage of his care. It seemed a little shameful. Because that was her captain. Chapter 1575. When Xiao Jing arrived, the high-speed train had already started. The Supreme Alliance members were about to leave. After Lin Feng saw the person, he patted him on the shoulder. Poker face Xiao, really? I don't want to criticize you, but you really don't know how to fall in love. Yun, who didn't express any opinion. After all, a certain someone was a blank piece of paper when it came to dating. If I were you, I would use the entire family's power to stop the high-speed train. Lin Feng turned towards Bojiu. Isn't this kind of plot? Bojiu sounded nonchalant. I've read too many novels. No one can stop the high-speed train so easily. It's possible to hack the system. Both of you, behave yourself. Qin Mo tugged the back of her collar, his handsome side profile. I'm taking this person away. What are you going to do next? Think about it. It was obvious that this sentence was directed at Xiao Jing. Xiao Jing stood there. He lifted his eyes and glanced towards the direction of the high-speed train. He felt that he wouldn't be used to it. Other than not being used to it. Xiao Jing wanted to know what else was there. He swiped his phone. There was no message. He wasn't used to it. Xiangnan had a new mid-laner. The netizens liked mid-laners. The club had considered it too. In order to avoid trouble when Luo was around, they respected the fans and invited her into the team. The mid-laner was still a girl. She had a likable personality. She knew that Zhao Sanpang liked to eat, so she brought many snacks over. When Xiao Jing was training, she didn't forget to bring a bottle of mineral water over. There didn't seem to be any problems. The way to replace someone seemed simple. She just had to find a new one. The three of them were going to do a live broadcast together. The girl came online very early. She turned on her dual cameras and smiled sweetly as she introduced everyone. Zhao Sanpang was still a strong top laner. Xiao Jing's assassin was in the jungle. The other two were random passers-by. After all, they were professional players. The girl's maneuvering was above average. But, the support was too slow. While playing, she would turn her head and ask Xiao Jing, "Almighty Xiao, did I use this skill correctly?" "MMH," Xiao Jing replied. His fingers seemed to pause for a moment. At this moment, the girl was still saying, "The two matched teammates, you must protect me." When Zhao Sanpang heard this, he wanted to end the game quickly. Xiao Jing didn't say a word and started harvesting. Zhao Sanpang finally calmed down. This game, the three of them won. It just felt different. Their thinking was different. The reinforcements were too slow. She was always protected. These problems were probably because he needed to familiarize himself with his new teammates. It made Zhao Sanpang wonder if there was something wrong with his condition. After leaving the base, he tilted his head and lit a cigarette. He was irritated. Actually, some of Xiangnan's old fans could tell. Their master Fatty's condition wasn't right. No, not just Lord Fatty. Even Almighty Zhao's finances didn't seem to be as high as before. He did win, but his speed was much slower. What was going on? But the results were still pretty good. The fans of the chosen girl felt that this person had brought new strength to Xiangnan. It was better than being so rigid in the past. But it was Zhao Sanpang and Xiao Jing who were playing the game. It was especially so for Zhao Sanpang. The pressure on him to be the top laner had doubled. Ordinary players wouldn't be able to tell. This was not a tower defense game. Just based on the skills of the last hit. The new girl and Luo Luo weren't on the same level. Those who weren't professional players wouldn't be able to tell. Even he felt that it was because he wasn't used to the new teammate. It had nothing to do with anything else. F***CKU. It didn't matter. Zhao Sanpang grabbed his hair fiercely. Sometimes, he really didn't understand why people would chase away people who wanted to play games. He wanted to control his emotions. But he couldn't control himself and kicked the rubbish bin. When he turned his head, he saw Xiao Jing walking out of the training room. Not in a good mood. Xiao Jing's handsome face didn't show any emotions. Zhao Sanpang really didn't want to say anything. He was going to suffocate to death. Who sent her here? Can they chase her away? Do they really want to play like this? A professional player is asking for protection and they think it's not bad. How can they be in a good mood? These people don't care about skills. They like whoever they like. There's nothing wrong with that. But we are the ones competing. Xiao Jing listened and didn't say anything. Zhao Sanpang took another puff of his cigarette. 3 waves of attacks came from the top lane, but that girl didn't even come. Yes, that's right. I'm a professional top laner and I can hold them off. What should I do when I compete with other professional teams? Is she still going to defend the middle lane? If she uses her life to protect the tower, she won't die at all. Her results are beautiful. Xiao Jing still didn't say anything. He didn't know what he was looking at. His expression was a little indifferent. Zhao Sanpang felt that the situation wasn't right. He restrained himself and said, "Captain, I'm really not complaining. I just can't take it anymore. Are we going to compete like this in the future? Are you so cowardly that you don't have any friends? Luo Luo is indeed a coward when it comes to liking you, but she's different when she's playing games. You know how fast her support is. With her in the middle lane, you'll be able to farm quickly because she knows how to deal the last hit. She'll even take care of the top lane. A good mid laner. F***CK, a good mid laner doesn't need a beautiful battle record." When he said this, Zhao Sanpang didn't expect his captain to reply to him anymore. In the circle, he was famous for being a man of few words. He was his captain. The little prodigy of the Supreme Alliance should be together with their captain. They were silent and didn't need to talk to each other. Just as Zhao Sanpang heaved a long sigh and was prepared to give an intellectual ending, Xiao Jing finally spoke. His voice was calm. "I'm not thinking about these things." Zhao Sanpang's face was filled with disbelief. Zhao Sanpang had a look of disbelief on his face. He was really angry now. Captain, you are heartless for saying that. Luo doesn't need to talk about other aspects, but you should know how good she is at playing. The golden triangle isn't something that can be given to anyone. There was a period of time when the team didn't have an ADC, but she was still able to carry it. I'm not thinking about these things. I'm just purely thinking about her. Xiao Jing interrupted Zhao Sanpang. Zhao Sanpang stuttered when he heard this. Captain, you mean, I miss her a lot. There was finally a ripple in Xiao Jing's eyes. It isn't because she is a member of the Xiangnan team, and it isn't because of her maneuvering. Zhao Sanpang stiffened. This is normal. CK, wasn't he showing off his public display of affection? You guys can play next. Xiao Jing reached out and unzipped his jacket. Zhao Sanpang was confused. Us? Me and who? The new members, Xiao Jing said as he tossed his jacket into his hands. Zhao Sanpang was dumbfounded with the cigarette in his mouth. No, Captain, we agreed that it's a break-in period. We need 3 players. Chapter 1576. Zhao Sanpang was almost certain that he was eating dog food. No, Captain, even if you aren't in the mood to train. Xiao Jing didn't wait for him to finish his sentence. I'm going to fetch Luo back. Are you going to continue delaying me, or are you going in to support the scene? CK, isn't that obvious? Zhao Sanpang extinguished his cigarette. I'm the best at supporting the scene. Captain, you shouldn't have let Luo go when she left. Why did you do that? How long has it been? One day, and you want to fetch her back. Why do I have to fetch Sister Luo back? Did I not do enough? The new mid-laner saw the two of them walking out of the training room together and followed them out. However, she didn't expect to hear these words. Sister Luo has already retired. It isn't suitable for her to stay in the team. Xiao Jing glanced over without much expression. Even though his eyes were slightly cold, he only said one sentence to Zhao Sanpang, tell her that Luo is fine. He disappeared from the corridor. The mid-laner girl didn't understand. My results just now weren't good? Not bad. Zhao Sanpang thought for a moment. He still couldn't learn to be fake. But compared to Luo, you aren't on the same level. But you don't have to worry. Captain said that he wants to fetch Luo back, but he doesn't have any intention of letting her return to the team. Since she has retired, she won't return to the team unless there are special circumstances. The new mid-laner smirked. I'm speechless. How am I not on the same level as her? I know about her past results. She was indeed very good when she first came out, but when you guys met the Supreme Alliance, she didn't seem to be of any use. Her results weren't as good as before, and her condition wasn't good at all. How dare you say that I'm on the same level as her? Honestly, Master Fatty, I'm really sad to hear you guys talk about me behind my back. Can't you say it in front of me? Why do you have to say it behind my back? There's a live stream, so I can't say it in front of you. Zhao Sanpang's voice was calm. If you really want to know your weakness, I can analyze it in front of you. You aren't agile enough and are only mid-laners. You can say that you are stable, but the price is that Captain and I will be slowed down and the pressure will be greater. Of course, you won't be able to see it in such a situation, but in the professional arena, you might die if you aren't careful. The new mid-laner paused. Chapter 1577. The new mid-player clenched his fists. Since you don't like me, can I just leave the team? Zhao Sanpang didn't reply. He realized that there were some things that he couldn't understand. But once something happened, it wouldn't end. Before the new mid-player came, she said many times that she was Xiangnan's fan. She said that she was really happy to join Xiangnan as a fan. She did like Xiangnan in the past, but she didn't expect that the two almighties she liked were like this. She said directly on the internet, some people say one thing to my face and another behind my back. They even said that it's embarrassing to criticize me during a live stream, but when they're outside, they start saying why I can't do it. They even said that the fans made their former mid-player leave and they let the fans take the blame for everything. Heh heh, how many fans are students who support them even though they don't have money? They say that they don't want anything, but in the end, who knows what will happen behind their backs. They have to be careful even when they start a live stream. Retirement is retirement, they still have to get it back. When she posted this, Xiao Jing was at the high-speed rail station. To say something that was somewhat detached from reality, yet it was also very realistic. Xiao Jing didn't take this kind of public transportation often, unless he was going to participate in a competition with his team. It was the first time in his life that he was purely looking for someone and with such a clear goal. Hence, he wasn't that familiar with it. When Xiao Jing came, he was still wearing his uniform. But the uniform was too eye-catching. He exchanged it with the taxi driver and even paid the taxi driver 100 yuan. Even so, he still had to wear a mask. There were many handsome guys at the high-speed rail station. But there were very few like Xiao Jing. The words scholarly family were mostly used to describe girls. But when it came to Xiao Jing, it didn't seem out of place. Especially when he lowered his gaze to look for the information on the ticket, his back was slightly bent but there was a sense of coolness. It made people stop and take a few more glances. Xiao Jing's other hand was still holding onto his phone. With such a huge piece of news, it wasn't just the club that would call him. Even Zhao Sanpang would call him. Almighty Fatty had always been direct. Is this girl delusional? I didn't mean it that way when I said it was inconvenient to do a live broadcast. Could it be that she thinks she'll be happier if I point out her problems to her face? Don't rookies have to be humble? I'm just displaying my gentlemanly side. How could I be wrong? Yes. Xiao Jing was a man of few words. But obviously, those 2 words were enough to make Zhao Sanpang grin. I've read so many comments, but in the end, I still have to find comfort from Captain. I'm a person who loves to criticize others, but I've also been accused of one thing behind their backs. Interesting. The company told me to take a break for a few days. No need. After saying this, Xiao Jing said, I have something else to deal with. I'll call you back later. Zhao Sanpang chuckled. When you were chasing after Luo Luo, you were distracted to deal with my matters. Chapter 1578. When Zhao Sanpang heard this, he smiled even wider. No problem, leave it to me. Almost immediately after he hung up the phone, Zhao Sanpang went to talk to Luo Luo privately. What are you doing? This was Almighty Fatty's first sentence. Luo Luo's hometown was a small place surrounded by water. Over the years, she had saved up as a professional. But the elderly seemed to be like this. The older they got, the more they liked to stay in a place with roots. Even though Luo Luo bought a 2-bedroom apartment in the city, her family didn't want to leave. She returned to her hometown this time. She didn't know why. She felt more relaxed after returning home. There was internet here and it wasn't that backward. Even now, it was popular to order takeout in the villages. But the only difference was the topic of discussion. Over here, no one knew the concept of a professionally sports player. In the minds of the older generation, they were still stuck at the stage of playing games. Luo Luo's mother was the most ordinary mother. However, one could tell that she was definitely beautiful when she was young. Unlike Luo Luo, her mother liked to sing. She even learned from others and sang on a singing platform. Look, another fan of mine gave me a like. Mother Luo pulled Luo Luo and showed her her phone. Luo Luo smiled. Really? I'll sing another song later. Now, I'm going to hunt wild vegetables with Auntie Sue and the rest. Mother Luo carried her bag as she spoke. Eating wild vegetables is good for the body. I saw the analysis post on WeChat by the experts. Luo Luo glanced sideways. Mum, some of these things aren't scientific. Nonsense, how is it not scientific? Mother Luo tidied her hair. She had to look beautiful even if she was hunting for wild vegetables. Luo just wanted to laugh. The sun is really strong outside. Let's drive. Auntie Sue will turn on the air conditioner for me. How fashionable. Driving to hunt wild vegetables. Oh right. Your phone keeps ringing, why don't you take a look? Mother Luo seemed to have thought of something. This time, Auntie Sue introduced a good person to you. When we come back later, I'll bring you to meet him. He just came back from the army and is your primary school classmate. When he heard that you are back, he insisted on meeting you. Isn't this fate? Mom. Luo was about to speak. Mother Luo interrupted her. Luo, don't think that us old aunties like to introduce people to you. Even if it's our hobby, we don't introduce people randomly. They were the ones who asked you first. Go and take a look. I've seen their photos. They look like the type you like. If you really don't like them, just tell them. Don't you know your Auntie Sue? They are straightforward people. Moreover, since you're back, you should let go of that person in your heart. Luo wanted to laugh at the beginning, but when she heard the last sentence, she suddenly paused. Mom, how did you know? In the past 3 years, every time you came back on New Year's Eve, you were waiting for someone's call. As soon as the call came, you were smiling. At this point, Mother Luo put on her hat. How would I not know my own daughter? She definitely has someone she likes. That's why I rejected many people for you. I thought that since you like gaming so much, you would definitely stay there. You wouldn't want to come back. Now that you're back, it's good too. The last sentence was like the softest thing in the world. This made Luo realize this. Many years of going against the norm. To chase after a profession that wasn't recognized. There was something else behind this. Chapter 1579. Luo took a deep breath. I can go, but I have to say that I'm not prepared to find a boyfriend immediately. We just want you to be friends. If you feel that you have similar interests, you can contact each other. We didn't say that you have to find a boyfriend, Mother Luo said. However, Luo could clearly see that ever since she agreed, her mother's smile had increased. No parent didn't want their children to find a partner when they reached an age. Luo knew this. In the past, she was resistant. Now, she didn't know if it was because she had been outside for too long. After returning home, she stayed in the small courtyard. Her pace of life was slow and she would pay attention to people online who had scandals. It didn't seem so hard to accept anymore. She was probably really tired. Luo could still remember when she closed her eyes. She pushed open the door and walked in. Her mother was stunned. Her mother probably didn't even know what the word retired meant. It was as if she had worked hard in the big city and returned to her hometown after resigning. But her mother still felt that she was upset. At night, she wouldn't forget to massage her shoulders and say, "It's better if you don't do it anymore. You can accompany me when you have more time. You don't know, your father has been hoping for you to come back." This was different from what she said every time she called. The most common thing they said was, "Everything is fine at home. Take care of your health outside." In the past, Luo was afraid of retiring. She didn't even know what she could do after retiring. When she applied for a job, people would ask her about her education. She would tell them that she didn't have a diploma. When people asked about her work experience, she would tell them that she knew how to play games. Luo had thought about all these before. She could indeed engage in related jobs. Host, commentator, substitute player. But she didn't know why. She didn't want to. That was why a few days ago, even when the person she wanted the most agreed to date her, she was worried about her gains and losses. It was her problem, not that person's problem. She came to this step. Did she get scolded too much? That was why she didn't dare to. It wasn't because of those people. She was afraid that after retiring, she would lose the only thing he admired. That was probably it. Luo held her forehead and smiled. She thought she could get rid of it after all these years. The feeling of inferiority seemed to appear more and more the more you liked someone. Now, she was not afraid to retire. Without the internet, he uninstalled the game. It was an unprecedented piece. Probably because he knew he didn't have that kind of feelings for her. The desire slowly faded away. Even his heart could rest for a while. Luo had originally planned to slow down her pace as well. However, her mother's words reminded her to check her phone. Before she swiped the screen open, Luo had expected to see someone's name. After glancing at the informant, he smiled mysteriously. Really, what are you still fantasizing about? However, Luo was still very happy to receive a message from Master Fatty. She pressed on the screen and replied with a voice message. I just woke up. I'm in the courtyard at home. Master Fatty, what's the matter? After asking, Luo remembered that today was the day the new mid would pass. It was pretty good. Chapter 1580. There's nothing to see when you're not around. Zhao Sanpang didn't want the netizens to bother Luo anymore. If it was possible, he wanted to find someone to hide all of Luo's information. After the new mid-player said those words, it was fine. It was fine if some people criticized him. Even after Luo retired, they didn't stop. He really thought that Luo would come back. In reality, his heart was already cold. Why would he come back in such an environment? No matter how much he liked her, he wouldn't be able to take it. Luo really didn't know what happened. She just felt better after hearing Zhao Sanpang's words. This seemed to have started from a long time ago. Oh right, you don't know, but after you left, Captain didn't seem right. Zhao Sanpang revealed something. But he should have reflected on his low EQ. It's better that you left. You can stimulate Captain a little. Luo didn't expect Zhao Sanpang to tell her this. When she heard news about that person again, Luo drank a mouthful of water subconsciously. There must be a lot of things happening recently. He can't accept that I'm really leaving. He will be fine once he gets used to it. Zhao Sanpang listened to the voice. For some reason, his heart ached a little. You are right. He might be fine once he gets used to it. Oh right, Luo, where are you now? Are you in your house in the city? I want to go somewhere to relax. I thought about it for a long time, but I don't know where to go. I wanted to go to Jiang City, but when I thought about that crazy wife-flaunting demon, I didn't even want to move. Luo could imagine his expression just from his voice. She laughed unknowingly. I'm not in the city. I'm in my hometown. I'm in the village. Do you want to come and play? Of course. I might look handsome, but I'm good at physical labor like chopping firewood. Zhao Sanpang was unscrupulous in order to get her address. Luo laughed again. What era is it now? Chopping firewood? I'll send you the location later. Call me when you reach the city. I'll come and fetch you. Be more specific. I have no sense of direction. This was Zhao Sanpang's last sentence. Luo agreed. Then I'll hang up. I'll send you the address on WeChat. After Zhao Sanpang received the address, he immediately sent it to Xiao Jing. Captain, you have to hurry this time. I don't know why, but I feel different when I talk to Luo this time. She seems to have grown up overnight. Xiao Jing didn't see this WeChat message because he received a call from the club's manager. Apologize? Why? This was what he replied after listening to the other party's request. His voice was very faint, almost inaudible on the high-speed train. Chapter 1581. I don't know what it means to weigh the pros and cons. Xiao Jing's voice was low. I only know that the person you mentioned who has already retired is Xiangnan's strongest mid. With her, Xiangnan would have been the champion for 3 years. The person you are trying to soften up is Xiangnan's most important top laner. Everyone who plays this game knows that the top laner position is the most stressful. With him around, my jungle can be protected. Although the adjustment period is important and fresh blood is indispensable, manager, you seem to have forgotten the attitude you should use to treat those who have spent half a lifetime in Xiangnan. You don't seem to remember how much glory they have won for Xiangnan. That person had never heard Xiao Jing speak so much. He knew that this wasn't going to be easy. He gritted his teeth and said, "What do you want me to do?" "The company has to give me an explanation, the new mid-player." "The new mid-player, I have a message for her." Xiao Jing interrupted the manager. "If a person doesn't even respect his seniors in the same industry and speaks without thinking because of non-existent competition, he won't pass my test." "Xiao Jing, why don't you understand? Every season is different. The club has to consider its survival." The manager was speaking from the bottom of his heart. "Actually, you should have reflected on yourselves. Why do you always keep a distance from the fans? That isn't popular anymore. You have to unify them so that they have a sense of belonging. You and Luo Luo, this is where you lose." Xiao Jing's eyes were indifferent. "So this is what losing means. If not, who are you going to say this? You can't let Luo Luo say it. I thought about it and I know that you are protecting her. That's why I asked Sanpang to say it. Anyway, that guy likes to joke around. He can just say something when the time comes." The manager wanted to coax them. Firstly, they had feelings for each other after such a long time. Secondly, these people were still valuable. After all, they were popular. At the very least, Xiao Jing was the most valuable. The manager thought that the other party would understand since the unity of the team was the most important. Xiangnan and Supreme Alliance were different. Supreme Alliance could break up. Xiangnan couldn't. He had seen how Supreme Alliance handled things. From a business perspective, it was something that only people without EQ would do. Feng Yi, that smiling fox, was becoming less and less like a businessman. The manager thought to himself. Suddenly, a voice came from the other side. "If no one says anything, how are you going to deal with it? You're making things difficult for me, Xiao Jing." The manager's forehead began to sweat. Xiao Jing looked out of the window. As soon as he closed his eyes, he saw the 3 of them standing on the podium. At that time, not many people liked them. At that time, they were nothing. At that time, few people knew about esports. It was also at that time that he obtained the most important friendship, and now, love. You don't have to feel troubled. Xiao Jing opened his eyes and his Adam's apple rolled twice. As long as we all retire, there won't be a problem of who will come back, and there won't be a problem of newbies getting used to each other. You don't have to say such soft words. The manager paused. He had never expected that Xiao Jing, who had always attached the most importance to the team, would say such a thing. Just as he was about to speak, he heard the other side hang up the phone lightly. Chapter 1582. The manager didn't expect that his request to persuade Zhao Sanpang to say some soft words would end up like this. When he received the message again, Xiao Jing's contract termination message was already displayed on the webpage. There was still half a year before the termination. The manager thought about this and wanted to make use of this relationship to keep him. But right after that, the Xiao family's lawyer appeared. According to the contract, as long as he didn't bring his game ID with him, he wouldn't have to pay any compensation. All the players from Xiangnan had such a contract. From the company's point of view, they hadn't realized how important a person was at that time. Instead, they were focused on the benefits brought by the game ID. Hence, the manager was completely dumbfounded. Xiao Jing also simply said 2 words on the public platform, "Retire." The fans weren't in an uproar. Lin Feng exploded in the Almighty's discussion group. "Welcome, Poker Face Xiao, to our retired army. I just want to ask you, did you understand something after Luo Luo left? You can't have both a girlfriend and a game at the same time. Back then, I couldn't find a girlfriend because I always played games. Yunhu opened his mouth slowly. Do you need me to find one for you now, almighty Lin Feng? Lin Feng went silent. CK, he couldn't even joke about it, it was dangerous. Rao Rong sent another message. To be honest, Poker Face Xiao is indeed old. Xiao Jing, the one above, we are the same age. Rao Rong smiled gently. I'm 18, thank you. I'm born in the 2000s, shameless. Lin Feng couldn't stand it anymore. The 16-year-old is going to speak. What plans do you have after retirement? I'm recruiting people. Poker Face Xiao, are you coming? Xiao Jing, no, I'm going to chase after her. Bo Jiu sent an emoji of a dog biting a blade of grass. You're finally enlightened. Lin Feng tugged his collar and sat on the boss's chair. I'll wait for you. I need talents like you. I'm too young and can't control the situation. I'm ashamed to talk about it. World's most handsome fatty, why did you retire? The moment he said this, the discussion group went silent for a few seconds. It wasn't his usual style. Is it because of the live stream? Did the club say something? Zhao Sanpang was anxious. Because of me? Xiao Jing lowered his gaze. No. Then why? Your condition hasn't deteriorated, you. Zhao Sanpang clenched his fists. Xiao Jing's voice was very calm. The golden triangle is gone. I can't adapt to the new rules of the game. There's no point in continuing to fight. Zhao Sanpang paused. I understand. I'll retire too. He had never been like this without fighting. Following that, Xiao Jing sent the word retired. Every pro team member's contract was different. Zhao Sanpang's contract had expired half a year ago, but because there was someone important to him, he wanted to continue staying in Xiangnan. Now, there was no need for that. The two pillars of Xiangnan announced their retirement at the same time. From then on, there was no response. Some people wanted to explain, while others didn't believe him. In any case, they exploded. Xiao Jing's classic scenes in the game were constantly being dug up. However, at this very moment, but he discovered something. In those classic scenes, there was always a shadow of a person. There was a tower kill in the middle lane, an ambush in the bushes, and a team wipe when the opponent came to the jungle. All of them had Xiangnan's former mid-laner, Luo Luo. Chapter 1583. There were indeed people who said this. Of course, there were also people who said that this was the opinion of brainless fans. In any case, one had to experience the fickleness of human nature on their own. However, after he retired, he wouldn't look at it anymore. Hence, Luo Luo didn't know that Xiao Jing had retired. She had a dinner party to attend at night. Luo Luo had gone on blind dates before. This time, she was prepared to make it clear in advance. But the person smiled when he heard her words. It doesn't affect me. What did he mean by it doesn't affect me? Luo Luo looked up at the person sitting in front of her. His sleeves were half rolled up and he was supporting his chin with his hand as he smiled at her. I thought you already have someone you like, but it seems like there's still a chance. As long as there's a chance, I can wait. Luo Luo paused. The person stood up. Do you want to take a walk? We are too eye-catching. Luo Luo wanted to leave, so she smiled. Let's go. Your personality hasn't changed. The man was good-looking, especially when he smiled. It was a little healing. You are straightforward. It's fine at home, but outside, you must have suffered a lot, right? This was the second thing Luo Luo didn't expect him to say. The man took out his phone and flipped to the page with news about her. Because you play games. Sometimes, when you are on duty at the border, I would look at it. I don't believe it. Luolua's fingers suddenly paused. The man smiled and kept his phone. I said so much because I want to tell you that I understand you very well. I understood you very well when we were in school, and I also understood what happened afterwards. When you left, I even thought of looking for you. It's not that I'm advising you not to play games, but I feel that a girl has to pay attention to many things outside. But at that time, I was too young and didn't know that liking someone can last for a long time. Luolua's gaze landed on his face. She only said one word. Thank you. The man looked at her. Do you want to give your first love a hug? Classmate Luoluo. If I hug you here, the entire town will know about it. Luolua's smile became prettier. For classmate Leng's reputation, I don't want it. The man raised his eyebrows. I'm just a rough guy, what reputation do I need? All the classmates wanted to come and watch you, but I blocked them all. Now that you're back, shouldn't you play some cards and get used to it? As someone who's been on many blind dates, I'm telling you, relax a little. Have you dated many times? Luoluo wanted to laugh. The man had a headache. I've rejected you many times, but I still can't escape. You're too outstanding. Luoluo casually plucked a tree branch. My mom said that you're the most promising person in the entire town. Up until now, no one knows which army unit you're from. Such a secret, you must not be simple. The man chuckled. I'm not as outstanding as you. If you hadn't left then, the recommendation wouldn't have landed on me. Luoluo, it's true that education is important, but sometimes, it's not that important. Some of us joined the army at a young age to protect our country. They didn't graduate from a famous university. Luoluo didn't expect him to know what she cared about the most. How much of my stuff have you seen? Every time you post on WeChat, I look at it. I think it's quite interesting. But, it must be hard to retire, right? No one had ever asked Luoluo this question. Chapter 1584. Both the person and the game. This was the question that Luoluo had been thinking about for a long time. Was her choice of career wrong? She didn't regret it, but she had many regrets. It was different from what she imagined. There were too many things that she couldn't explain clearly. All along, she spent more time on training than her personal life. The arrival of the celebrity era meant that she had to communicate with people. It was quite funny when she thought about it. If she asked the captain to communicate with the fans, what would he say? For example, Almighty Shao, I like you. Captain, Luoluo relaxed when she thought about this. She wasn't the only one who wasn't used to it. That person wasn't used to it too. But he was always so strong. If it was possible, he would always be there. Luoluo didn't regret liking that person. She really didn't regret it. But, she didn't want to continue. But similarly, she couldn't accept anyone. Hence, she rejected the man decisively. The man was tough too. It was probably because he was a soldier. He had a good personality. I know. Do you want to eat an ice cream? Luoluo realized that people who were good at communicating with others had a special characteristic. They could naturally change topics that would make people feel awkward. The man smiled faintly. Because you don't like me. That's why you are treating me. In front of them was the small shop in the town. Luoluo agreed and took out 2 ice creams. The two of them walked with the ice cream in their mouths. They were having a relaxed time. Humans really needed friends. Just as Luoluo was thinking about this, her phone rang. It was her mother. She used the most familiar method. How is it? Are you satisfied? You didn't come back immediately. There must be something going on. Your auntie and I didn't lie to you, right? This is Leng. Luoluo's volume wasn't low. She knew that the person beside her must have heard it. She held her forehead helplessly. Mum. Fine, fine, fine. I won't ask. Oh right, I'm not calling to gossip like before. Someone from home is looking for you. He said that he is from the same team as you. As Mother Luo spoke, she glanced at the tall and slender figure standing in the courtyard. He looks familiar too. He seems to be the person in your photo. It's Brother Fatty. Brother Fatty is here? So fast. Luo Luo was obviously happy. Brother Fatty? Mother Luo looked at the person in front of her suspiciously. He wasn't fat at all. I'm here. I'm going in now. Luo hung up the phone. The man next to him said, "Look at the puddles in front of you." His reminder was still too late. The man reached out and pulled Luo. He was helpless. Student, watch the road. Luo wanted to laugh at his tone. Sorry. Really? The man was also smiling. But looking at the sky, it should be raining again. Luo looked down. The sky was dark. You are looking at the sky, I am looking at you. This sentence is very suitable for men. Student Lang probably didn't even notice that there were too many emotions in her eyes. After all, she was the only girl he had ever liked. Luo didn't see such a gaze. Xiao Jing, who was standing in the yard, saw it. Mother Luo smiled beside him. Seems like Luo is quite satisfied this time. Xiao Jing didn't speak. His eyes darkened, and in the end, he couldn't help walking over. Luo was standing with her back facing the house. She didn't see the person behind her. There were many puddles on the ground because it had been raining recently. It was true that Xiao Jing took the high-speed train here. But if he wanted to get here, other than the high-speed train, he had to reverse. In the end, he took a taxi. When he entered the town, many people were looking at him. Chapter 1585. The sky darkened again. It looked like it was about to rain. Luo felt something falling on her face. It happened suddenly. A transparent umbrella appeared above her head. Classmate Lang, who was standing opposite her, instantly turned his gaze towards the person. Luo felt that something was amiss. She glanced sideways. However, in the next second, his body froze, and even his eyes were a little shaky. She couldn't believe it. Wasn't Brother Fatty the one who came? Why was it him? But in this misty rain, that person stood with an umbrella in his uniform. His handsome face didn't change at all. He was holding the umbrella for her. Her shoulders were drenched by the rain. Luo didn't expect this person to appear. Her mind went blank. She heard him saying beside her ear, "Why are you wearing so little when you're meeting your friend?" Luo habitually treated it as if she was still at the base. "It was sunny when I left." Xiao Jing tugged the jacket off his uniform with one hand and placed it on her body. "Do you still want to continue talking to your friend?" Classmate Lang truly felt that this person. "Hello." Xiao Jing extended his hand. "I'm Luo's boyfriend. Thank you for sending her back." "Boyfriend?" Classmate Lang smiled. "I don't think so. I heard from Auntie that Luo is still single." In the past, Xiao Jing didn't talk much to people. But now, it was different. "Auntie doesn't know yet. I'm here for you to check if I'm qualified." "Nonsense." Luo wanted to retort. But he grabbed her hand. His gaze was deep. "Are you going back?" Luo felt that she couldn't resist his gaze. Every time she trained till late, he would appear and look at her like this. "Go back." Luo glanced at Classmate Lang apologetically. Classmate Lang took a step forward. "If Auntie isn't satisfied with him, you can contact me anytime. Also, you can't miss the class reunion." "I understand." Luo added. "I'm talking about the class reunion. I'll be there." Actually, it was good that her captain appeared. It saved her the trouble of explaining that she wasn't in a suitable state to be in a relationship. However, Luo really couldn't understand why he would appear here. Also, the words he said made her heart tighten. On the other hand, Mother Luo was standing in the courtyard. When she saw this scene from afar, she felt a little conflicted. As a mother, she knew better than anyone that the man was the one who had moved her daughter's heart. Before this, Mother Luo was still wondering how such a boy could exist in this world. His aura was too good. One look and she could tell that he came from a scholarly family. He was completely different from the people here. Any girl who marries him will definitely be blessed. After all, the child was well educated. But she didn't think that way anymore. This person and her Luo were from two different worlds. The mother must be worried. As soon as she saw the boy, she could imagine his family background. Ordinary people would not be able to raise such a child. Under normal circumstances, how could such a child know how to care for others? If he really had the heart. Her Luo couldn't have come back alone. His attitude was still the same. It was as if he had lost a battle and didn't want to pick it up again. As a mother, her heart ached when she saw this. In short, it wasn't suitable. Chapter 1586. From Mother Luo's attitude. Xiao Jing could tell that she didn't welcome him. At the very least, she wasn't as warm as when he first entered the courtyard. But she was still polite. She even asked him what he wanted to eat. But she didn't give him any time to be alone with Luo. Xiao Jing was the captain of Xiangnan. Although he was a man of few words, as someone from an aristocratic family, he was able to see the ways of the world. Hence, when Mother Luo was cooking, he helped. He didn't wear an apron and just sat there to help Mother Luo choose the wild vegetables. Mother Luo felt that this person was too fake. How could such a person choose wild vegetables? But when she saw him lower his head, he didn't even care that his white shirt was dirty. Instead, he moved his slender fingers and took out the tender vegetable heart and placed it in the wooden basket. Mother Luo didn't want to make it too obvious that she didn't welcome him. After Luo poured the tea, she saw this scene when she came out. When she was pouring the tea, she was organizing her thoughts. This person's appearance was a surprise to her. Based on the time, he should be preparing for the newbies in the team and had a lot of interviews to do. Why did he appear in her hometown and help her mother choose wild vegetables? This scene really didn't seem real. When this person wasn't training at the base, he would definitely be in the research institute or a high-end cafe. Occasionally, he would wear a pair of gold-rimmed glasses or a white coat. He would hold a book that she didn't understand and talk to people. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that he came from a scholarly family. This was probably the only time she saw such a scene. The more Mother Luo looked at him, the more she felt that he was too skilled. "Mr. Xiao, do you also choose vegetables at home?" "Auntie, you can just call me Xiao Jing. My mother likes to eat wild vegetables too. It's just that it's hard to find wild vegetables that grow in the north in the coastal city. But my hometown is in the north too. My grandparents like wild vegetables too. When I was young, I chose wild vegetables with them. After I started studying medicine, I got to know more wild vegetables. Occasionally, I would use them to make medicine." Xiao Jing changed his experiment to medicine making so that Mother Luo wouldn't feel distant. Mother Luo's eyes lit up when she heard this. "I told you that wild vegetables have medicinal value." Even the experts said it, but Luo didn't believe it. Luo, who was called out. Her mother's attitude changed a little too quickly. "Luo is worried about you too." However, if Auntie is looking at the comments of the experts on her WeChat moments, it's best to choose from them. For example, the wild herb we're choosing now has the effect of lowering blood sugar and lipids. It can also clear away internal heat and reduce internal heat, but at the same time, it's cold. It's best not to eat it if you don't have a good appetite, because if you eat too much, it'll easily cause indigestion. Mother Luo finally found someone who understood her. One moment, she was enlightened. The next moment, she was praised for knowing so much. The next moment, she learned a lot about wild vegetables. She wanted to tell her sisters about what she had heard today. It was too practical. On the other hand, Luoluo felt like she was dreaming as she watched from the side. Captain, he, had never spoken so much before. In her memory, he was a man of few words. He would occasionally touch her head, but he rarely did anything else. When it came to topics, it was usually other people who talked about it. Just as he was thinking. Chapter 1587. Just as she was about to pass him the cup, he suddenly leaned over. However, she saw him suddenly lean over, and just like that, in her position, his thin lips touched the glass of water, staining it with water. Luoluo wasn't in her teens or early 20s anymore. She would turn around and leave at any moment. Even this action made her heart skip a beat. But she didn't show anything on her face. She waited for him to finish drinking before keeping the cup. Then, she sat beside him and cut the vegetables together. If she treated him as a friend, she would be much calmer. After so many years, she actually managed to fake it. Now, it seemed easier. She had probably thought things through. But Luoluo was really happy that this person came. It was as if Grandpa Fatty came. Luoluo thought that she was finally similar to him. She treated him as a captain who fought alongside her. He was just a captain, nothing else. Xiao Jing also noticed that there was a subtle difference between them. But he couldn't tell what the difference was. Because the person in front of him wasn't distant from him. Even when they were eating, he kept putting food in his bowl. Captain, try this. It's my mom's specialty. It's delicious. Okay. Xiao Jing really didn't talk much now. It was probably because he had talked too much with Mother Luo that his throat felt uncomfortable. He thought about it and realized that it was probably because he was drenched in the rain. Luoluo scooped a bowl of soup for him and smiled at him from time to time. Her eyes were very beautiful. Xiao Jing paused his chopsticks. His gaze deepened. Mother Luo was sometimes a reasonable person. She didn't arrange for him to stay in the small motels in town. After all, he looked clean. Even though she was angry, this young man made her daughter different. From a certain perspective, this was growth. Her daughter was outstanding. But it didn't mean that everyone liked her. It was normal that no one liked her. As a mother, she only hoped that her daughter would marry someone who liked her and that she would like him too. She wouldn't have any regrets and would be happy. After eating, Luoluo replied to a message. The message was from classmate Leng. He said that they were going to a gathering. Luoluo agreed. After so many years, she really wanted to see her childhood classmates. Xiao Jing poured tea for Mrs. Luo and glanced at her. When he saw the smile on her lips, he felt as if something was pressing against his chest. He knew very well who she was replying to. The person who had pulled her wrist today. Xiao Jing had never felt like this before. But he also understood one thing. He wanted to bring Luoluo back. A blind date or something. Not for her. Marrying a classmate was even more unsuitable for her. With Mama Luo's age, she didn't say much when she saw this scene. She just lowered her head and drank her tea. It was usually in a small town. By 9:00 in the evening, there was no one outside. Occasionally, the chirping of insects could be heard. After all, the college entrance examination was here, and summer was coming. Luoluo cut a plate of watermelon and placed it in front of Xiao Jing. The network signal here isn't good sometimes. If you're bored, Captain, you can watch television for a while. Okay. Xiao Jing looked at her face. Luoluo's fingers paused. She turned around and opened the wardrobe. She took out a blanket. This is new. No one used it before. When she said this, she looked at his shoulder again. His clothes weren't dry yet. She hurriedly found her white t-shirt. You can wear this first. I bought a super large one. It should be able to be worn by the fans. Chapter 1588. The entire bedroom was silent for a second. Luo was the first to speak. See if you can wear it. If it's small, I'll find another one. At that time, she had indeed done many things. She didn't dare to wear the uniform even after she bought it. After all, she was part of the Xiangnan team. It wouldn't be good if she appeared as his fan. At that time, she didn't even have the ability to prove herself. Hence, she didn't want to cause trouble for him. She started to talk about it seriously. At the start, she didn't seem to like him as a romantic partner. It was pure admiration. He was only 1 year older than her, but he was so amazing. She was a silent fan. With this attitude, Luo became a fan for a long time. In the end, before she entered Xiangnan. When she almost wanted to give up and stop playing games. He only said one sentence to those who said that she was not good: wait until I see how she plays, then we'll talk. He gave her a chance to stay in Xiangnan. From that moment onwards, her silent fan turned into a silent liking. This liking lasted for 3 years. She couldn't talk about it. She didn't dare to talk about it. She didn't even dare to show it. Because at that time, no one would accept a relationship within the team. Now, it was indeed an old version of the uniform. It seemed to have betrayed her. Xiaojing realized that Luo didn't want to talk about the past. He took the uniform and unbuttoned his shirt with one hand. Then, he bent down and wanted to wear the uniform. When Luo turned back, this was the scene she saw. Even though everyone stayed in the same apartment when they were in the base, their rooms were separated. In the earliest meeting, the captain requested everyone to wear their shirts even when they were in the base because she was around. Hence, Luo had never seen such a scene. She would definitely feel the impact. She only looked back for a moment before turning her head away again. Of course, Xiaojing saw this, and the corners of his mouth turned up as he laughed out loud. Luo heard his laughter and turned back with her beautiful eyes. The person who was looking at her didn't care. Why should she care? But when he looked at her again, it was too deep. She reminded herself that she couldn't fall into his eyes. I can wear it. Xiaojing lowered his gaze. Luo placed the pillow down for him. I saw it. If you don't have enough blankets, send me a message. Luo. Seeing that she was about to leave, Xiaojing reached out to hold her wrist. It's probably too late, but I still want to tell you that I don't want you to go, so think about it. Do you want to go back with me? Luo's gaze landed on his face. Then she shook her head. It was very light. After playing esports for so many years, I'm a little tired. I also want to accompany my mother. Xiaojing's Adam's apple bobbed. He knew he was a little late. However, such an answer was indeed not within his expectations. He thought that as long as he thought clearly. She returned to him. But now that he saw the support uniform, Xiaojing understood something. She had waited too long for him. Not only had she been waiting for him, but she had also been waiting for him to understand her feelings for so many years. She had been waiting for the sound of her feelings for so long. During this period of time, she was afraid, worried, and in the face of those who disagreed with her, she still did not give up. Until now, she was tired. This type of support uniform. It should have been 4 years. It would be fine if it was 4 peaceful years. Chapter 1589. Okay, Xiaojing replied. Luo didn't say anything else. What he had in mind was also verified. He came here because he wanted her to go back. That night, Luo slept well. It was probably because she had let go of her feelings. The more people knew about her feelings, the easier it was for her to let go. But when she woke up the next day, Luo didn't understand why that person didn't seem to have any intention of leaving. Instead, he followed her mother to the oldest market in the town and bought 3 sets of clothes. He looked as though he was planning to stay here for a long time. Fortunately, it was Xiao Jing. If someone else wore that color and style, it would be a terrible sight. But there was a type of person who could suppress the darker the color. That was because of his aura. Many people were asking when they saw him. Luo, is this your friend? Is he your boyfriend? He looks good. Luo hurriedly said, no, he is a very good friend, not a boyfriend. When Xiao Jing came over, he heard these words and felt a sharp pain in his heart. He had the chance to be her boyfriend forever. What was he trying to verify? Yesterday, Xiao Jing had been thinking about this question over and over again. Because when he saw her, his first reaction was that she wasn't bad. She had beautiful techniques, both her operation and her awareness. But when he saw her lowering her lids, she seemed to be tired. He thought that she wasn't just a sorcerer. She was a girl. Hence, from the start, he was used to taking care of her. Until now, he was still like this. But who said that taking care of someone couldn't mean that he liked them? Even he was stuck in this line of thought and couldn't come out. But yesterday, he knew that she was giving up on him like a scholar. Just thinking about this made his heart feel empty uncontrollably. Yesterday, he even sent Qin Mo a message. Luo probably doesn't know about this. In her eyes, you seem to be perfect. Luo should know that you aren't that perfect. Not bad, after all, she has waited for you for so many years. Finally, she can't wait anymore. It's good to consider others. Luo was as inhumane as usual. You don't have to ask my girlfriend about dating. You can just give up. Anyway, other than esports and scientific research, you are very popular in everything you do. Xiao Jing didn't bother about his words. After all, this person had a sharp tongue. He just asked, how did you know? She waited for me for so many years. It's a coincidence. When Qin Mo said this word, he didn't forget the person beside him. Lord Jiu, you still have 8 days before your college entrance examination. Are you going to continue playing with the cat and not marry me in the future, or are you going to write a physics paper? Just when Xiao Jing thought he had forgotten about his matter. Chapter 1590. Luo probably cared too much about this, so she didn't even think about it. That's why she asked me such a question. Qin Mo added another stab. What were you doing then? Xiao Jing, he was just researching. But now that he thought about it, that scene, he had no impression of it at all. Just as Qin Mo said, he couldn't see it. Looking at Luo's dressing, she probably went to confess. Qin Mo was nonchalant. It has been so many years. If you really can't do it, Luo wouldn't lack suitors. I said the last sentence on her behalf. It was hard to tell who had said those words. Qin Mo laughed. He didn't seem to be talking to Xiao Jing. Instead, he was talking to the person beside him. Xiao Jing retired for Luo's sake. This is enough to prove that he is capable. This person is addicted to esports. He didn't even want his family business. Think about it. Many people didn't like to link money with love. Of course, they didn't understand. People like Qin Mo and Xiao Jing, who gave up all the support from their family for their dreams, must love this industry so much. But they were willing to give up their dreams for one person. They probably loved her so much that they blocked their own dreams. Moreover, Qin Mo knew what Xiao Jing was thinking. Before he left, he said that admiration and love weren't the same thing. If you admired someone too much, you wouldn't be able to see their flaws. What if they couldn't live together for a long time? Luo admired Xiao Jing too much. It was noon in the small town. The sounds of cooking could be heard everywhere. There were fewer vegetables in the house, so Mother Luo sent Luo to buy them. She left Xiao Jing alone and ignored the guests. The two of them definitely had to go together. The people in the market would look at Xiao Jing when they saw them. Luo Luo glanced over. Do you want to wait here? It's a little dirty inside. There are poultry inside. It's okay. Xiao Jing followed behind her. Luo Luo didn't feel anything at the start. Later on, he took all the vegetables and she was only in charge of picking from the start. She felt that it was too intimate. More importantly, he looked like he was going to stay for a long time. He should be very busy at Xiangnan. The club wouldn't let him stay for such a long time. Luo Luo turned around and looked at his slender and fair fingers. He was carrying the 3 plastic bags and had a scholarly air about him. It didn't suit this place at all. She also knew that he was a little obsessed with cleanliness because of his research. Otherwise, he wouldn't wash his hands so many times a day. However, when he followed her past the poultry area, his side profile didn't show any emotion, but it was a little whiter than before. It was probably because he had a cold. Luo Luo knew that he wasn't feeling well yesterday, so she woke up early in the morning to buy medicine. With a lozenge in his mouth, Xiao Jing was even less talkative, but the sunlight reflected on his chin was clear and clean. There is a kind of man that you will always be attracted to. This was because there was always a youthful aura around him. No matter how much time passed, it did not seem to fade. Even though he was carrying a plastic bag. You can also imagine what he is like in front of the computer. This person shouldn't stay here. Captain, when are you going back? Xiao Jing glanced sideways and said in a hoarse voice, I'm not going back. Huh? Luo Luo thought she heard wrongly. Chapter 1591. Luolua's hands paused. If she had been the one carrying the plastic bags, they would have fallen onto the ground. Her heart tightened. She took a few steps and stopped. Captain, don't use such a method. What method? Xiao Jing glanced at her. Luo Luo took a deep breath. I really don't want to go back. I'm not being angry, I'm just tired. Xiao Jing finished her sentence. Luo Luo acknowledged him. Xiao Jing stood there, wanting to caress her head like how he did in the past. At that time, he thought that he would take special care of her because she was his team member. Now, he finally understood. He wanted to take care of her because she was Luo Luo. At that time, he didn't have much time to sleep when he was playing games. Sometimes, after he finished a game, he would turn his head and see her sleeping on the keyboard. Then, he would pull his jacket open and place it on her body. Then, he would ask Zhao Sanpang to smoke with him. He still remembered what Zhao Sanpang had said. Captain, Luo Luo is working so hard and there are still people scolding her. Why are we still in this industry? Luo Luo said that it's to earn money. If it's really to earn money, it wouldn't be like this. He didn't speak. Because, what was this person like? As long as the person who liked her understood. But, there was no eternal love in this industry. Even if they liked her, they might not understand. Even he, after so many years, found out that she was so tired that she wanted to abandon the thing she loved the most. For the first time, Xiao Jing felt his heart aching. It wasn't because she was trying to let go of him. Instead, he wanted to ask himself what he had been doing all these years. Playing games and winning the championship. Other than these, there was nothing else in his eyes. In the end, he couldn't even protect the person who gave Xiangnan so much glory. Xiao Jing's hand slowly clenched into a fist. He said calmly, if you're tired, rest. I'll stay and accompany you. I'm not using any methods, I just want to accompany you. Luo Luo was shocked again. Her heart was pounding. She wanted to ask Xiangnan what should they do. Didn't the new mid just come? What about the team members? But before she could speak, a chuckle came from behind. A chuckle came from behind her. Luo Luo, what a coincidence. Following Luo Luo's gaze, Xiao Jing saw that it was the man who had taken her wrist that day, and his eyes couldn't help darkening. Luo felt that it was a coincidence too. You're here to buy vegetables too? No. The man walked over, and before he could say 2 words, Yi Zichen walked over. Someone was calling his name from the other side. Don't forget about tomorrow. The man responded and turned around, looking handsome as the sun shone down on him. Luo replied with a mmh and smiled as well. Looking at the person who was called away, the old man selling vegetables said, "This child is successful outside. Every time he comes back, he will bring a lot of books and stationery for the children at home. Just like you, Luo, he is always thinking about home. The 2 of you are really the golden couple of our town." Luo didn't say anything. She was a little embarrassed from the compliment. The prices in the town were very low. The things she gave to the school weren't worth much. However, this scene was different in Xiao Jing's eyes. Because he knew her very well. As a soldier, he was kind-hearted and didn't forget his roots. He even did so many things. She liked almost every single one of them. You're tuning into the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.